DJ and PK. We are brought to you in part by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. PK's in Las Vegas. Conference tournaments, plenty of action. Coming up, Utah State is going to open play in the quarterfinals. They're playing Fresno State, who took down Wyoming in the opening round. Tip-off set for 1, pregame at 12:30 with Scotty G. Darius Brown II, Big Shot Brown. Bailed them out in Las Vegas with an outrageous shot, bailed them out in Fresno with an outrageous shot, and then hit the game winner on senior night. PK catching up with him right now.
You went to Pasadena High School, right? Do you know that that's a famous high school with a bunch of famous people? Like, for instance, have you ever heard of Bob Eubanks?
No, I have not.
Have you ever heard of the Newlywed Game?
No.
Okay, go look it up. He's there, and he went there. It's a long-running game show where newlywed couples would come on. Have you heard of Alex and Eddie Van Halen?
No.
Yeah, they were a rock and roll band in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think their time would have been 70s and 80s and into the 90s. And Eddie Van Halen was recognized as a great guitar player. So where I'm going with this is that maybe folks of your generation don't know who those guys are, and it's kind of like Darius Brown. People didn't really know who he is, but now, man, with all these game-winning shots, you're making quite the name for yourself, aren't you?
It seems so. Yeah.
What's going on with that? I mean, watching that New Mexico game, you get the ball, Osborne passes you the ball, and obviously you couldn't hesitate. You had to shoot it, but the thing that I was intrigued by is, the place is going nuts, but Darius Brown isn't really going nuts. He's kind of taking it in stride.
Yeah. I'm really the calming factor for the team, and sometimes you just react, and sometimes my reactions are just be calm and steady, and sometimes it's for the best. Especially in March, like crazy stuff could happen. They could have easily thrown up some crazy full court shot, and the crazy thing is, as surprising as it would have been, it wouldn't have been surprising because it's March and things like that happen. So, I just like to be the calm and steady guy, so I guess that plays into that.
This year, the number of big shots, I mean, there's 3 or 4 of them, right? And we know them. The Vegas one, the Fresno one, and then to basically clinch the Mountain West title in the regular season, you probably had some other ones, but those 3 stand out to basketball fans in the state of Utah, I think. Take me through when you were growing up to was it a situation, backyard and counting down the time in your mind? And how did you get to this point with the amount of, thousands of shots and stuff that you took as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all that plays a part, as a kid, having the countdown in your head or in an empty gym, just counting down in your head and making that game-winning shot. I think that's something that all kids do and dream of, and just live for that moment. And it just happens that a lot of these games have been close and the ball's in my hands, and my teammates and coaches trust me to have the ball in my hands, and the shot goes up.
Yeah, because I thought Osborne, he's player of the year in the conference, and you easily could have been, but he got it. But, he's a low down below in the post, and he makes a move, then he comes back, and he sees he kind of gets a double team is coming, and he has no hesitation throwing the ball out to you, and obviously that was the right move. How much does it mean to you to know that your guys, who was a conference player of the year, and he's got the ball 5 feet from the hoop, and he's 250 pounds, knows that you're open, so he's going to get you the ball? I mean, that's got to give you confidence unto itself.
Yeah, definitely. It gives me crazy amount of confidence to know that, my teammates are not just great, trust me to take shots in those big moments, and that my team wants me to have the ball in my hands in those moments, and that that means a lot, and it does give me a lot of confidence, and keeps me grounded also to but it's just a nice feeling to know that your teammates trust you in those moments.
Now, we know that you came from the state of Montana to come to Logan because of Coach Sprinkle, right?
Yes, sir. That's accurate. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what about after you get done with Northridge and CSUN, they call it, the folks who live down there, that led you to go play for him in Montana? Because I'm wondering, it was obvious that why you came here from there, but why did you go from Northridge to there?
Sprinkle was one of the few coaches that has seen me play in person. Back when I was a freshman at Cal State Northridge, he was an assistant at Cal State Fullerton, same conference.
Yeah.
So I played against him twice, and he seemed very familiar with my game when the recruiting was going on, and just like I know how to use you, I know how you can fit into this team, and I was also looking for a team that was already established, older, and just kind of looking for a point guard. I didn't want to go to another rebuild at that point in time. And he had that perfect team set up, a team that was kind of already built and set. They were losing a point guard and Xavier Bishop, the grad assistant here right now.
Yeah.
And it was just a simple plug you in and roll from there. So.
Okay, so you're from Pasadena and you go to school in the Valley in Northridge. I mean, that's the cosmopolitan metro area, both of those places where you went to high school and played your college ball at CSUN in the beginning. But Bozeman, well, how much of an adjustment was that for you?
It was a huge adjustment, but it was what I wanted at the time. I wanted to get out of California, just to go live somewhere else. Pasadena and Northridge, 30 minutes away from each other, so just wanted to get out and go get out of California, get out the Big West, just leave, do something else. Needed a fresh start from that.
And then I imagine then Bozeman prepared you for Logan. I haven't been to Bozeman, but I've been to Logan a bunch.
Yeah, Bozeman was a great place, and it was if it wasn't for Sprinkle leaving, I'd probably still be there.
Right.
But that Bozeman was a great place, and Logan's a great place. So.
Yeah. And with that in mind, as you still got a lot to accomplish, but your college career and your time at Utah State obviously is going to be shorter rather than longer. When you decided to come and play for Coach Sprinkle at USU, what were your thoughts as far as what individually and collectively could be achieved, and how does that compare to what you've already achieved, knowing that you still have a lot to achieve going forward?
I think nothing compares to what, nothing I thought about beforehand could compare to what has already happened, and all the wins, the championships, the individual accolades, all those things. It doesn't compare to what I was thinking about when I first got here. We had, the whole new team. Yeah. Nobody's played each other except for me and Grace. Summer was rough. It was a lot. So nothing compares to, what I thought about, what I thought about then and what's actually happened.
So the level of satisfaction has got to be through the roof.
Yes, definitely. But we're, still wanting more.
Yeah, for sure. What do you intend to do now that you're going to be done here in a few weeks with your life? I'm talking about.
Yeah, find an agent and play as long as I can. So whether wherever the opportunities lay, but find an agent and go that route and figure out what's next.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is Darius Brown, the Aggies' big shot guy. Pasadena, Northridge. It is only 30 minutes. Man, that's a world away. But credit to him to say, hey, I want to try something new. I want to go see the world, go play in Bozeman. My guess is he doesn't have the size to play in the NBA, and he knows that. And when you hear him talk, what professional league will he end up in? But having talked to probably a dozen guys who played overseas, great stories, good money, interesting places to go. He sounds like a guy who'll take full advantage of that. And I think Thurl and Pace obviously have done enough TV and radio here, and you've heard some of their stories, but way more guys than that. Travis Hansen is another local guy who can tell you stories, but they're people I talked to who played in Santa Barbara in the Big West. And you don't hear much about basketball in England, but a guy who went and played in England tell you how wonderful that was. I know a guy who went and played in Australia, and he was down there for almost 20 years, did some coaching and some broadcasting afterwards. There are great opportunities out there. But Darius Brown isn't done yet. Who knows? There could be another big shot out there. Sam Merrill's shot will live forever. I think Darius Brown's shots, Aggie fans aren't going to forget them anytime soon. We'll see what he has to see what he gets to pull off here in the coming days. That's hilarious that he doesn't know the Pasadena High alumni. Makes me want to go to Pasadena High School and see don't they have like photos of famous people up on the walls or something you walk by so you're at least vaguely aware of them?
Well, wouldn't you have a shrine to Van Halen or something like that?
You'd think there'd be something. Maybe there's nothing. I don't know.
School songs like Jump.
You play that at every football game? I can see even how that would get lost, though. But you think there'd be some photo of famous alumni on the walls or something like that? I went to a new high school. We don't have some long history and a bunch of famous alumni. The guy who runs the Major League Baseball Players Association. Went to my high school. Great.
Mountain View in Orem, Utah has Travis Hansen, Aaron Thorne, and Noel Picus Pace.
So do they have stuff up on the walls like for the kids? I mean, you're a hardcore sports guy, so you know this.
They got stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Not like you have to know where it's at. It's not like super prominent over in their athletics wing, but it's there.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. PK caught up with Mason Falslev. Man, Mason's an interesting story. He had a chance to play football, a chance to play basketball. He won state titles in football and basketball in 2019. He was the state MVP in football and basketball. Which one of them was he state MVP twice? Was it basketball twice and football once, or was it the other way around? The guy's got so many accolades, I can't keep him straight. He was going to go to Utah and play football, and then he changed his mind, not just on the school, but on the coach. And I interviewed him on TV. Tim Duryea offered Falslev, gave him his first college scholarship offer when he was in the 9th grade. This is like 4 coaches ago. Every time there was a coaching change, Falslev had to decide, well, what am I going to do now? The ground kept changing underneath him. And he did change from one sport to the other and from one school to the other.
He was 2-time 4A state MVP in basketball, 1 time in football.
2 in basketball, 1 in football.
And I watched him play football up close. It's hard to impact a game as one person in football. He is one of those guys who's able to do it.
All right, PK with Mason Falslev next. Stay with us.